we are going to make a left-hand turn. If you have auxiliary lighting, aka off-road lighting, I would recommend you turn it off momentarily while we're on the gravel road, and then we can turn it on as soon as we get onto this first trail.
We are all moving.
Good copy, thank you. And guys, we're going to go back through this stop sign. We're going to cross straight through. And then around where those power lines, we're going to make a left. Where we're turning, is that pretty much the start of the trail? I'm going to record it on my own exit. Yes, sir. That is the beginning of the trail for us. Thank you.
This is such a good looking herd of Broncos, I must say.
Copy that, Danny. Thank you. So, guys, pretty wide dirt road here. My recommendation when we get into terrain like this and onto a dirt road, I could totally do this in two-wheel drive. However, in the interest of preserving the vehicle, making it as easy on the vehicle itself, and making it environmentally sympathetic, meaning kind of helping to not deteriorate the road more than needs be, I go ahead and put it into 4H. So basically 4 high is what I am in now. I also usually toggle my sway bar disconnect if people have those as well. Yeah, that's an excellent suggestion. I don't know, I didn't really notice how many Badlands we have in here. The Raptor obviously would have that option too. But yeah, good suggestion. With the stay bar disconnect, anytime you go off-road, I think this is your point, Chris, anytime you go off-road, just go ahead and disconnect. It will enable the vehicle to flex a little bit more, giving you a more enjoyable ride.
And in the Broncos, it will automatically reconnect at 20, and I believe in the Raptor, it automatically connects at 40 miles per hour, just for safety purposes. So through here is a bit dustier. If you want to space yourselves out a little bit, that's perfectly okay. That way you can see the trail and the maybe rocks up ahead. Again, give yourself enough time to get over things. Don't rush over them if you don't have to.
that have been through off-rodeo or have been off-roading for a while, which I think most everybody has, probably not even needed to say, but one of the things that you would be looking at in a fairly smooth road like this, or a really challenging road, would be the things I look for anyway: ramps, ledges, holes, and the proverbial stick-out rocks. Those things that they do nothing in their world other than try to tear your tire. There's a lot of those on this trail. So tire placement becomes really critical. Even when it's it's a smooth road and not terribly challenging, I do like to take a little bit of view forward. I like to sit up tall in my seat and get good visibility, and then I scan the road immediately in front of me and out a little ways, depending on how fast I'm going, looking for those lanes where I can not be as bumpy, frankly, those ramps, those things that are going to be smoother.
Yeah, so reiterating kind of what he just said, you always want to sit a little bit different than you do on-road, sitting a little bit higher, a little bit closer, so that way you're limiting what is called driver's fatigue, which you can feel being bounced around and, of course, engaging your core all day can be quite tiring. So sitting a little higher and a little closer would definitely be a great idea when off-roading if you didn't know that.
That's a really good point, Danny. One of the things I do when I'm teaching out at off-rodeo is at the beginning of the trail, I get into the vehicle and I show proper seating position. If anybody wants me to go back over that, happy to do that, either over the phone or over the radio or, live in person at some point today. But that seating position really does become helpful. I grew up in Southern California. We're not doing the gangsta lean when we're, driving off-road. It's really helpful to be up tall, looking out, getting a good view of what's in front of you, what's coming at you. It will help you to be more aware and to be a better driver.
And then one thing to help you throughout today as well is the things on the edge of your hood. They're called trail sights. They can help you. They let you know where the inside of your front tires are with Sasquatch package. Without Sasquatch, it moves in just a little bit. But those black things that are each rated for 150 pounds can help you kind of guide you on which rock you want to get over or which kind of path you want to take, which is awesome.
So, those of you from this area, Michael, I know you're from here. This is what I was talking about with Michael yesterday. Is help me understand. So those off to the left, there's roughly looks like 4 main peaks, but off to the right, not to the left. So the two that are side by side, that is the world famous Sisters. It's an absolutely great view. And then on the the south side of that range, that last volcano, I believe, Michael, tell me if I'm wrong, I believe that's Mount Bachelor.
Correct. The furthest south largest peak is Mount Bachelor. I forget the name. It's basically just across the highway where you see that little bit of snow on a lower. It doesn't quite look like a big volcano. I forget what the name of that is, but that's actually a fun wintertime snowmobile trip or hiking in general. And then, yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. The Three Sisters you're looking at, and the north-south sister, and then I forget what the middle sister's called. Maybe just middle.
Copy that. Thanks for sharing the local culture, or the local info. I always like learning about what is around here. Now,
you look south of Bachelor, you can kind of see that cinder cone view with just a little bit of snow on it. Edison Trail Run is really close to that area right there.
Copy that. Thank you. Depending on which run you go with us, I think tomorrow, I don't remember if it's the morning or the afternoon, I might take some of you and actually climb up, if you're up for it. It's at least a moderate hike. Not very far, but it's a little challenging to walk up it. We're going to walk up and get on top of one of the cinder cones. So everybody, make sure you smile if you see Cameron come around. You know, you gotta be cheesy for Cam. Cam the Cam man with the cheesy smile. So people ask me all the time, and Danny, I want to get your thoughts on this. People ask me, well, when should I go 4 high, 4 low? I talked a little bit about 2 high. We could totally do this section right here in 2 high, but in the interest of, you know, mechanical sympathy on the vehicle, I don't want to do that. Sometimes I will go into 4 low in an area like this, even though it's a simple dirt road. Danny, why don't you kind of give us your perspective on when to go 4 low on terrain like this?
So I like to go 4 low on terrain like this if maybe you're not sure of the terrain, you know you're going to keep a lower pace, but also you want to practice maybe a little bit more vehicle sympathy. 4 low would be great because it's going to use engine braking, you're going to have a little bit more torque when needed, and of course it's going to be safe to go up to about 40 miles an hour in 4 low, but at that point you probably should be shifting into 4 high, just so you are aware. So with this, it is just kind of your preference. You can try it out today if you would like, trying this in 4 high at first, then switching to 4 low. Whenever you go to 4 low, though, you need to be stopped, and your transmission needs to be in neutral to allow that switch to happen, just so you are aware.
One of the things that I think a lot of people kind of struggle with is if I'm bouncing between 4 high and 4 low, it's like I'm going to go fast for a short distance. I'm going to put it into 4 high, and then every time I come up on an obstacle, I'm going to go down to 4 low. Like Danny mentioned, these vehicles, unlike old school off-roaders, these vehicles can do up to 40 miles an hour in 4 low. I wouldn't do that for a sustained amount of time, but if you're on a trail where 4 low is advantageous and then you've got nice flat terrain, go ahead and do it. I do it in my Bronco. But so it makes it super convenient. But I think the thing that a lot of people struggle with is, I want to keep switching back and forth. And my suggestion is, unless you have a real good reason for going fast, just go ahead and leave it in 4 low if you're in an area where you're going to need it. And then, enjoy the drive. 4 low will help you in so many ways, including the engine braking Danny mentioned, but also just being more methodical in how you drive. Now, Cam is trying to grab some photos off the side here. I think it's a really pretty view over there. Yeah, it's amazing up here. This is where I wanted to bring you guys. It gives you a sense of just how many of these volcanoes there are. And does anybody know the volcano to the far north? What is that one?
So there's a little one there that has like the dark peak and it's real pointy. That's Mount Washington.
Okay. one that is it's not as tall as some of the other ones. Okay.
Yeah, correct. I was just kind of working my way up from North Sister. So you have Mount Washington, and then north of that is Three Finger Jack, and then north of that is Mount Jefferson.
Awesome. I believe we got some cross traffic when you were talking, but if anyone wanted to mention something else, please do so. Unfortunately, our one-way talk right now is only one person can be talking at a time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the furthest north biggest volcano that we're looking at is Mount Jefferson.
Okay, Jefferson is the one all the way up there. Good to know.
And on a clear day like today, if we get around this Powell Butte to our right, we may end up actually being able to see a little bit of Mount Hood.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought from up here, I thought there was Mount Hood, but it seems like that's so far away, I wasn't sure.
Hey, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, I want this double understanding. Okay. So.
If anybody wants ice cream, come see me in the Topless Bronco. Ice cream? I think I've got like 4 little pints. Anybody's welcome to it. What kind of ice cream? I have Halo Top, birthday cake, and cookies and cream. Have a, I don't know, sea salt 300 calories for the whole thing.
That might be your new adventure name, Halo Top.
Does anybody have a spoon? We have a person with ice cream that needs a spoon. Nobody else wants ice cream?
Nice. You should stand on the rock slider and then
All right,
go ahead
guys,
and give the whole vehicle a shake.
lead hopped back in the vehicle. We are going to
Frame-mounted rock
begin
slider.
to roll on out.
Yep. Totally worth it.
Just checking with our group. Do we have anybody that needs to... No, I thought maybe somebody had mechanical. Okay, looks like we're good. Leads rolling out.
Good to go.
So we've got a section here. You're going to notice it. There are just kind of traditional whoops. Those are the, when I was a kid, we called them whoop-de-doos. Now it's just shortened to whoops. But basically, those, that just gets created out here natural. The key to whoops, and it depends on the angle of approach. I think Danny has some really good insight to share on how to do it. In fact, there's an area right before we conclude today. I'm going to suggest we get out and kind of play on the whoops a little bit and think about approach angles. But one of the things you should think about is taking it slow and easy. If you go too fast, you're definitely going to bottom out. You're gonna it's gonna get uncomfortable. Danny, anything you want to share about whoops?
Yeah, so they could be called a bunch of things. Whoops, whoop-de-doos, moguls, ruts. There's many names for them. Of course, whoop-de-doos are not the correct, term, I would say. It's just a fun term, so don't quote me on that one. But when going through those, you want to go nice and slowly, slightly at an angle, just like a lowered car would go over a speed bump. Kind of like that. That way you're not over-compressing your suspension or doing any bronco belly rubs. You can save those for your dog or cat or, I don't know, anything else maybe that you find out here. Anyways. Save that for something else. You don't want to do any bronco belly rubbing if you don't have to. So following through with your, I like to say your ABCD, so your approach angle, which is the front of your vehicle. The middle is your brake over. And then we have clearance, is kind of that C, which is just kind of everything underneath, which is something that you do see, but it also stands for clearance. And then D is your departure angle. So you have a lot of things in the back of your Bronco, or sorry to say your Bronco booty, that we need to worry about. So with that, you have your bumper, rate of recovery points, your spare tire. Those are all factors of your departure angle that you have to think about when going through maybe bigger or larger ruts and such.
And just to add in a little bit about whoops, is that it's pretty typical in any kind of off-road terrain, particularly in the desert. And some people, like me, we're kind of weird. We like whoops. We like to build our vehicles to handle the whoops at speed. So Thermal and Nolan back there in the Raptor, one of the things about the Raptor is that suspension is designed more for this kind of what I would call high-speed desert driving where whoops come into play. There is a point where whoops get too rough and you have to slow down. But it is kind of fun to find that line of what you can do and stay relatively comfortable. There are some techniques to manage, and by the way, these Broncos, all of them that we have here today, have great suspension that enable getting through the whoops relatively easy. But if anybody wants to talk about some of the techniques or strategies, we can certainly do that over the radio or when we get to the whoop section if we have time. And if we don't, we can talk about it back at base camp.
I just want to also touch on this terrain that we're in. So we're on this beautiful trail. With this, we want to kind of come back to our tread-like principles. We're staying on the path that is most traveled on, respecting the rights of course, the cross-traffic that may be happening, which could be a dirt bike or even a quad, but also just trying to protect this trail and keep it open for, I would say, many generations to come. So make sure you're looking ahead and planning your route accordingly and trying to stay on the route ahead of you. If you need to go a little bit more at an angle, a little more sideways, that's fine. Just make sure you're doing so in a strategic way. That way you're not running over maybe the entire bushes or trees up ahead of you.
One thing I like to also point out is not everyone uses their sense of smell often enough. So if you take in a big whiff, you can smell that sage, and it's wonderful.
Love it.
We're going to make a left-hand turn. At that point, I'm going to go back to 4 low.
how it actually reconnects your stay bar. You can re-disconnect that if you'd like. That way you have that articulation and that flex, if you will, while going a little bit faster. Don't be afraid to try something. Again, this is your experience. We want you to have fun with it. We're just trying to feed you all the information we can. Sorry if it's an overload at some point, but we're just trying to have fun too. And tell you what can kind of help you along this route ahead.
Allow you to carry a little more speed, a little more comfort.